my name is Carolyn. I'm a recent 4-H alumni and previously served as the Florida 4-H State Council President and Secretary. And so today I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about the state events and also state officer opportunities that 4-H has to offer. So I know I'm going to throw a lot of information at you guys. I got started in this about the same age as you, and I had a friend that approached me and was like, you should try state events, or do a state officer, like run for a position, just give it a try. It's very overwhelming, a lot of information. I was like, kind of love what I'm doing at the club and county, don't know if I need to do that. And they gave me advice that find one thing that seems cool that I'm going to explain to you now. One event or one position, something that kind of sparked your interest, and give it a try. If you hate it, you don't have to do it again, but just give it a try and see how it goes. So I ended up doing that. I went to the state event 4-H legislature, which sounded kind of interesting to me. I was like, you know what, I'll give it a go. And little did I know that was like the best advice someone could give me in 4-H, because that snowballed completely, and I ended up going to all of the state events, started running for state officer positions, and it gave me some of the best friendships I have, still to this day, even being a 4-H alumni. It also gave me such great experiences, which I don't think I fully appreciated maybe in 4-H, but after just finishing my first year at college in a completely different state in Minnesota, with very few friends and family there, was able to jump into that with complete confidence and making new friendships and having skills to get through college academically and socially. So the state events we have to offer, I'll start with those. We have 4-H legislature, which is the one I just mentioned that kind of started off going to my 4-H events. So this is for senior 4-H members, and you go to the Florida 4-H state capitol, and it's for a week, and you get to learn about the legislative process. So you get to do roles like the lobbyists, and representatives, and senators, and governors, and you get to kind of embody that role for a whole week. And so it sounds a bit overwhelming. It's a little more formal than our other 4-H events, and you do need to put in a little bit of preparation, but that work you put in is so worthwhile when you get to the event, and you get to debate on real bills that exist in Florida, and you get to debate with other 4-H people, and take whatever stance you want, and you get to be with the Green Party or the Gold Party, and you get to just kind of have fun with it. You get to sit in the official chairs and feel really official in that environment and learn about our legislative process. So that's one of them that's really cool. That is just for seniors. We also have 4-H iLead, which I believe you will be talking about, so I won't spoil too much. That's for our intermediate members, which is kind of just a more typical camp, a lot of workshops, a lot of ways to build those connections across the state. It's very cool to kind of meet people that are outside of your club and county. Like, I have friends that, just before this we were talking about, our friends all over the state. I have friends that live like 8 hours from me, and I still stay in close contact with, and I get to see at different events and different alumni things. So I'm still in contact with them. There's also 4-H University, so this is very much like iLead, but now for our senior members. So it's a little more, you get to do a few more opportunities, like our workshops, you get to travel farther, because you're now a senior. And then we also have our state officer campaigning that goes on then, and then a lot of state events. So there's state public speaking, there's sort of fun. So it's a lot of little skills and fun things along the way, but that's much more of your like typical camp, so much more casual than something like legislature. If you want to get involved in something a little smaller but still at the state level, there's Day of the Capitol. So that's just one day, and you go to the Florida 4-H Capitol, and you get to wear green, and you get to talk to your official like representatives and senators about how great 4-H has been for you and the impact it's for you. So if you went to iLead or you do archery or shooting sports, you can say, hey, I love doing this, and it's so cool, and thank you for supporting us and giving us money and supporting this program because it's changed my life. And it's just a cool way to get to tell people the cool things you do, you know, and do it at a high level. And then we also have just state events for like horticulture, entomology, and different competitions for that. So if you really like bugs, or you really like identifying trees or plants, I know I did, that was another way I kind of got involved. I was like, oh, this is so cool. I get to walk outside and be like, that's a live oak, that's a this, you know, and I was like, I'm kind of good at this, it's kind of fun. And so, you know, you can also get involved in like state events like that. So those are kind of our big state events. And then going into state officer stuff, that's where, as I mentioned, you will campaign at 4-H University. And so you have to apply for this, and you can work with your lovely agents that will help you do the application and all that. And then at 4-H University, you're going to do a little campaign. So you'll have little flyers, little things you'll hand out. That whole week, you'll campaign to your friends on why you'd be good for that position. So we have 8 state officers. There's the president, the vice president, the secretary, the treasurer, the reporter, and then the historian, sergeant of arms, and blanking on the last one. It's been a year or two. But we have 8 state officer positions, and you get to run for those, very similar to how it would be in like a club that you're in, whether it's shooting sports or at the county level. And it's a cool opportunity to kind of put yourself out there. It's definitely intimidating, definitely terrifying, because you're campaigning, you know, to your friends, and you're also maybe running against some of your close friends. But it's also kind of invigorating and exciting to have the confidence to go up there and show people why you'd be great at this position. And really, regardless of the position you get at the state level, it's very much like you're just an ambassador for Florida 4-H. So, if you get like a reporter role, yeah, you'll do a little more with the reporter side of things, and doing a newspaper, things like that. But at the end of the day, you get to travel around the state and go to like the state fair and talk to different people about how wonderful 4-H is, or you go to a lot of board meetings, and you get to go to these little events and also just tell people like how cool 4-H is, the cool things you get to do. It's just, you kind of get to showcase yourself, and how wonderful this program is and how much you're enjoying it and the people you've met in it. So all that to say, very overwhelming. I'm happy to answer some questions. To get involved in really any of this, you would talk to your agent. Also, Florida 4-H like online, they have a lot of different like resources and links on how to apply to these camps and things like that. So I know it's a lot of information, very overwhelming, but I hope that one of those things stood out to you just a little bit, because it truly, that was like the highlight of my 4-H experience, is going to the events. And the friends you meet, the skills you make, it's incredible, and like, I wish I had started sooner at some of those events, because it was really worth it. And you guys are young enough where you can start immediately. So I'd say take advantage of it, because it really does fly by. But yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have about it. Yes?
I have 2 questions. One, did you ever go to the state fair?
I did. I went multiple years, actually. Both when I was the secretary and the president. I also went before that just for fun and showing animals and things. But it was so fun. You get to go to like some of the like fancier little dinners and banquets they have. I even met like the governor of Florida, like some really cool opportunities that 4-H gives you. And yeah, you get to walk around with the state officer, coming on like the Ferris wheel. We got to flip the switch to light it up. So that was really cool. But yeah, you just get to meet a lot of people and walk around with 7 of your close friends, and just meet people and really put on a good face for 4-H on how incredible it is. So yeah, love the state fair. That was one of my highlights.
And is there any information about the executive board that you think people may not like search up online and really find pretty easy that you think might be a good help to someone just
Yeah.
into it?
Yeah, it's a great question. That's actually another state event that I forgot to mention is our 4-H executive board. So that's like where you get to plan essentially all the events I just talked about. So that's just 3 little weekends that you'll have, like, it goes from fall to spring. You just go for the weekend, which is nice because it's hopefully not missing that much school unless you have a long drive. But that's where you really get to like put your voice into what you want these events to be like. So if you've attended like iLead or something, like that was fun, but oh, wouldn't it be so cool if we had a workshop on this? Or I love beekeeping and I want to lead a workshop on that. Like that'd be awesome. You can go into the committee and get on executive board and say, I love our iLead program, I want to add this to it. And you can kind of have your own voice in what these programs are because you're the ones having the experience, you're the ones attending it, and so you want it to be the best it can be and something you enjoy. And so you get to really have your voice in it and lead those committees and have your say in whatever you like in those. So yeah, that's a great opportunity. Most of it is found online. Your agents also, I'm sure, know a lot. I've been to many iLeads with them. But yeah, your agents, you can also reach out to people like me, your state officers, great resources, really people who've attended it before. Once you kind of get into that world, it's easier to navigate it, but it's definitely overwhelming at first. So yeah, online's great and use the people around you. Feel free, happy to help, Any more questions?
So Carolyn, one of the things that we focus on for you is career readiness. I know that you have always done excellent with interviewing and like preparing your applications, resumes, things like that. Can you speak on how 4-H has maybe prepared you with that skill set and some of the things that you found valuable like in your college experience from being in 4-H?
Yeah, that was a big part of it is career readiness because especially you're kind of going to a place, at least for me, didn't know anybody, very new experience. And to many of the people I met in college, especially this first year, so that's overwhelming. Trying to find jobs, trying to get your classes, you're doing everything alone. And I think what I really appreciated, especially going to college, that I didn't when I was in 4-H or just graduated, was like the skills it gave me. Like I went into college with such confidence that I can make friends. I went to state events all over the world, the nation, and I've been able to make friends from everywhere. And that kind of came easy because 4-H is such a great environment to make friends, not just friends with people your age, but also like those youth adult partnerships that we don't talk about too much. Like it gave me such an environment to be able to fail, to mess up, to get back on my feet, and I had adults that supported me that whole way, and I had my friends who supported me. As far as like interviews and stuff, like doing those mock interviews through 4-H events, that really helped me. Really anything that you can put yourself out there, like anything that scares you just a little bit, I really implore you to try to do it because I think that's where I grew the most. Like the scariest things I did in 4-H were running for president. That was terrifying. I was so scared. The amount of public speaking I had to do in a week was more than I've ever done in my life. Like, oh my gosh, I was talking to everyone. And it was terrifying, but also it was the best year of my life and the best decision. And even before we figured out who got the position, I was like, I've already won in a sense, because I just learned so much in a week that I normally wouldn't be able to learn, in like a year. Like, it really gave me such a great environment to build confidence in myself and the skills of myself that I can lobby for myself. I can walk up to a group of people I don't know from across the state in confidence and say, you should vote for me. I'd be a great president with this, this, and this. And like, that was terrifying. But the amount I grew and learned, like, completely translated to college. When I'd go and meet with a professor, if I was struggling in class and I had to go to office hours, I knew how to get help. I knew how to reach out. I knew how to navigate different situations and adapt. That's what 4-H teaches you. And these state events are kind of just a way to amplify and show off your skill set at a higher level. That's honestly more fun, more people that you get to meet from all over. So yeah, it definitely, those interviews, those little things go a long way, and they really help.
Yeah. For Ledge, when you said you had to prepare a little bit, what did you have to prepare exactly?
Yeah, so when you start Ledge, you'll go in as a lobbyist. So really you'll pick, you have like a book of bills. A lot of those are based off real bills. Some of them, you kind of make up that are just funny, more joke bills. But you'll be assigned some that you'll read through and you'll do research on. And so depending on what it is, you'll look up like actual websites, actual government documents, trying to figure out more about your bill. So that then you'll go into meetings and be able to lobby for it. Like, I think you should vote pro on this bill because of these few points. And those points that you'll have on why you should vote pro or con will be from the research that you do. So we'll give you a little document on this is what the bill, the pros and cons, and your goal will be to just put a little work beforehand and figure out more about it and why people should vote. You want to have unique perspectives to try to convince people, you should vote for my bill, you should have my bill passed. So yeah, a little bit of work, but goes a long way. It makes for a more fun week for sure. Anything else?
Now, you said you showed animals and stuff when you were going through. How did that prepare you for the higher, outside of 4-H and doing all the state stuff?
Yeah, I think, many of you showing animals, the biggest thing is, like, you got to be quick on your feet and adapt. Like, as you mentioned with your, shooting sports, like your bow breaks or something. Same with animals. You go to the fair, your pig is underweight, or you forgot your, show collar. All kinds of things change all the time. And like, you just roll with it. Like, one time I went to the fair, my goat was so sick, got sick a week before. I just showed someone else's pregnant goat, and I was like 8 at the time. I got completely trampled by the goat in the ring, and it was showmanship. I got run over. I mean, it was so humiliating. But also, it's like, I got back up, I showed that goat, and I was fine. I even placed. And I got back up with a smile, like, oh, that was funny, like, just got run over by a goat. Like, that actually went in my college application when I applied to college. I started it with, I got trampled by a goat in 4-H when I was like 8. And you know what? I learned so much from that. Massive failure, but also a massive learning point for me. And so I think just being able to adapt and change has really prepared me outside of it. And also things like deadlines, like record books. We've all done record books for something late at night, scrambling with your agent, trying to fill it in. I know how to deal with deadlines, and yeah, we all procrastinate a little, but like those skills, like I know how to get things done when it counts. That's going to be present in your whole life, and so learning it early is so impactful.
So these guys are at a pivotal point in their 4-H development. A lot of them are moving from middle school to high school or just getting into middle school. And I find as an agent that our most difficult time to keep kids engaged in 4-H is middle school because they have more opportunities, but they're also somewhat limited.
Yeah.
So what would you say is the best way to continue to engage like their club members and people in their county to continue to do 4-H as a middle school student?
Yeah, I would say definitely get involved in I-League. That's like one of your only opportunities that you can to like see people at a state level. So some of you are already doing a great job and staying involved in that. But that'd be a big thing because it kind of gives you a taste of like, oh, how fun this could be. Can't wait till I'm a senior. And get to do even more of these opportunities or plan I-League and go do it on the planning committee. It definitely is a hard time because you're going into like thinking about high school and you're getting really busy. You're picking up sports. You're getting more involved in school. You're thinking about future steps. So it was definitely been overwhelming for me. I was like, 4-H is taking a lot of time, and that's a big commitment. I would just say that definitely it pays off, to put in that work. And even if you have to limit it in some things, like I will say when I went to middle school and high school, like I did show animals a little less because to me that wasn't what I was passionate about as much as leadership. So I did sacrifice a few 4-H projects, which I was really grateful to do. But I think you do have to manage your time a little more wisely. But yeah, I would just say really try to stay involved, even if it's you're busy and it's just one thing, like go to the club meeting every month or go to I-League, put that on the calendar. Like just staying involved in a few things because just at least keep your foot in the door, even if it's a busy time, even if it's like, you're in that weird stage. Like just do a couple things that are really fun because sticking it out until senior year and being a senior is is really worth it. And it's limited for our intermediates, but also like the cool thing that you guys are doing with the districts and stuff, like those are cool ways to already do leadership as a middle schooler, which I wasn't having. Like getting that experience early will give you so much more confidence, you know, to be able to run for state officer stuff and go to these events. So like I would keep kind of pushing on those big opportunities because they'll pay off a lot.
Thank you.
Yes,
So technically, failure is never failure, because you always win in the end with knowledge.
pretty much.